Aloha! Skippy says hi also. God bless this little dog. I love this little rescue. Okay, so what I got for you today is a real short story, as short as I can make it. It's under the guise of thumbnail. You cannot graduate. Now, I did go to 20 schools, and I did graduate. But in between there, it was kind of sketchy. So what I have is I went to a Catholic school, high school. It was a college prep school. And I also did a school that had a trade. Dad always said, this son of mine needs a trade. My mom said, no, I want him to go to college. Well, I went to a college prep high school. So that meant that we were taught things that we would be taught in college. And I had a D, maybe a high C to a D in freshman. Hey, come on. This guy, he's getting a little spunky here. So I had I wasn't doing very well in my freshman year of high school. When I got to sophomore year of high school, sister, who was a principal at the time at the school, she said, well, first of all, she shook my mom's hand, and she looked at me. She had no intention of shaking my hand. As a matter of fact, the first thing out of her mouth was, I have to see his transcripts. And you know what, kids? Transcripts. That means they follow you the rest of your life in school. Oh, man. So what happened was she was principal at the time. Bypassing all of that, we go from sophomore to 2 weeks before I'm going to graduate, and she's pulling me in out of homeroom. Well, the voice said, Uncle Martin, go to the principal's office. And everybody like, oh, he's going to the principal's office. So I went to the principal's office, and that was father who now was principal. She was principal when we first met. Now she was kicked out down to assistant principal. That could have had something to do with it too. So I go to the principal. Father, what's going on? He says, doesn't look too good. Doesn't look positive because you can't graduate. I said, Father, what's going on? He says, it's out of my hands. And this is the same guy that he brought us, me and Tim, to Vegas. But that would be another story. I can't wait to tell that one. So he's already given me the information that I cannot go and graduate. So on the way from the quadrangle over to sister's little place, her room, I was finagling. And finagling is what my grandfather, who was Italian, said, no matter how dark it is, which it is rather dark, it looks like it's going to rain, but that would be nice for Arizona. But what my grandfather said in my first fourth grade was, no matter how dark it is, there's always a way of finagling to where it can come back to your side. Now, finagling can be in many different directions. There's a physical finagling, which I understand he was a finagler, but there's a mental finagling, which means you can turn things around that's negative to where it's on your side. That's what he was telling me in my first fourth grade. That was 1963, and now it's 1973, and 10 years later, this is clicking in like a lightning bolt that I gotta start finagling. So when I get to sister's room, she says, go sit over there, which I did, and I sat in the seat, and she says, I just got off the phone and I left your mother in tears. I'm thinking, hey, that sounds rather negative. And then I guess I was waiting to see what her reaction was. She wanted to know why. And I wanted to know, well, I already knew why. I wasn't going to graduate. Father already told me. But I wanted to know why, because she said, I don't have a credit. The credit is missing. I'm missing one credit. So I already thought in my mind, maybe I finagled already. Because I said to sister, if you can write out a piece of paper that says I can graduate from my other school, which is a trade school, I was in carpentry at the time. Mr. Rich, bless his soul. What's the matter, boy? I think he got a hold of a chicken bone. Come on, boy. Oh, my goodness. Oh, you're going to be up. All right. He's okay. So what happened was I go to, well, I said, sister, can you write out, and she did. She said, it would be a miracle if anybody would sign this. So I go to Mr. Rich and I say, hey, Mr. Rich, I'm supposed to graduate in 2 weeks, but they said I can't because I'm a credit short. And know what he said? What's that got to do with me? I said, well, Mr. Rich, if I double up, because in 2 weeks, I'm going to be done with my school here, but I got another month and a half with you. If I double up on my classes, I can get that extra credit. And he says, yeah, but what's that? How do I know that you would ever show up here after you've been given this credit? I said, Mr. Rich, I got nothing. I got nothing except my hand and my word. I put my hand out and he shook it. He signed a piece of paper. I got back to sister and she says to me, this is crazy, man. There's no, well, actually, she was in shock. She didn't say it was crazy. I just could see she was in shock. And then she said to me, you know what she said to me? She said, what do you expect me to do? I just left your mother in tears. Do you expect me to call her back and say you're going to graduate? I said, yes, sister, that is what I would like. And so she did. So she tells my mother, I'm sorry, Mrs. Ba, that I called you earlier. Your son, we found that your son can graduate. So I hear my mom going, yeah! And then at that point, she had to throw another thing in there. She said, your son does not have the capability of going to a college. No. He would have to pass all of his exams with no less than an A to bring up his grades to a B to go to college. Okay, so Mom was excited, and that's how it ended on this story. The other story, it's going to be a part 2. This is this is the you can't graduate. But the next one is amnesia. Yeah. Amnesia. I had a concussion 2 weeks before I was going to graduate. This is all true stuff, kids, and whoever's watching. I had amnesia 2 weeks before I was going to graduate. And I didn't read a book after my fourth grade. So I've gone through now, well, since that point to this point, 16 schools without even reading a book. And by the way, kids, I want you to read, no matter what. What I'm saying is part 2 will be amnesia. And that's what I'll leave it at this time. Whoever lasted this long. God bless you. Be well. God victory. We'll see you soon. Be well.